Hi guys, welcome to Pace and Days. And today we are going to do the first episode of our segment Taboos,
where we discuss controversial topics that are normally kept hush-hush in the house. So the first topic for today is family dynamic between kids and parents in Thailand and how it compares to another country like Namibia.
Okay, let's talk about Sean's experience first, because he grew up in Namibia. So I wanted to know about how the way that people raise up the child there.
Well, Namibia is quite a conservative country. Because the population is so small, most people know who's living around them, small community feel. Religion plays a key part in a lot of the culture, and that's quite similar to Thailand, where it's, you've got family values, you've got religious values, you go to church every Sunday. The whole idea of you don't question religion in Namibia, same way you don't really question religion in Thailand, there are similarities there. In terms of her parents and children, I'd say that there are some key differences there in how kids are raised. Normally in Namibia, if you're a boy, then you're expected to learn how to become a man. You need to be able to barbecue, you need to play rugby, you need to help around the house, rough and tumble play with dad. If you're a girl, you should be proper, but you should not be a pushover. Don't let the men walk over you. Help mom around the house. Can also rough and tumble with dad, that's fine, but have strong opinions.
But I think something is similar here, but many things are different. Yeah, Thailand is a religious country as well. We have many Buddhists here, and we grew up with that. We teach children in school about religions, and you have many activities that you have to go to temple and you have to pray, but most of the time many children don't really understand the core of the religion. They just do and follow what adults do. At the time when I grew up, people are really conservative. I grew up in Chinese family, right? and most of my friends grew up in Chinese family as well, and it takes low here because the thing that they focus on is about careers. So you had to be really good at studying. So most of the children here have to focus on school subjects and studying. If you've been here long enough, you could have seen that a lot of children here had to study like crazy. They would start classes really early in the morning and finish really late. The more responsibilities you have to take care of, it's just about your homework and books. I could say that I grew up in like academic community. That's why I don't really understand camping, barbecue, jumping, or how to manage things in life. I don't even know how to clean up the house.
I'd say that's definitely a key difference that I've noticed. Where I'm from, being a good student is important in school. Homework is important in school, but it doesn't dominate. In Thailand, I often feel like the teachers are co-parents. It's the teacher's job to teach some of the kids certain values. Where I'm from, your job is teaching the subject. It's my job to teach the morals. If the child doesn't do the homework, it's my responsibility as the parent to educate them on it. It's not the school's responsibility to go, okay, but you need to do your homework. Hey, give them a second chance, and it kind of goes on repeat. I'd also say that in terms of Namibian culture, and I think to a large degree South Africa too, there is that idea that you need to be able to relax with parents. On weekends, because, for example, rugby is such an important thing in Namibian and South African culture. On weekends, you pack a cooler box with beers and drinks and meat, and you go to your friend's house. Everyone goes, the whole family goes. You braai, you make food, you watch the rugby, you see mom and dad drinking beer or wine, and seeing them in that informal situation, it creates a very different feel. It's not just about academics, it's not just about studying, and you get to play with other people's kids. You learn social interaction by seeing your parents interact with others.
I think maybe because in this country we have really high competition in terms of academics. When you have to enter to universities, the competition rate is really high, and most of the people here like to teach their kid to be doctors, lawyer or something that can give you enough money, and it's for the name of the family as well. It's a thing that they can show off that where the kid from. It can be a badge for you that you're successful of raising up a child. If your child can get into a good university and have good job, after that isn't that you're really proud of. That's why they focus on that so much.
I think that's true for all the Namibian culture, especially during my grandmother's time, saying, oh, well, my kid's a doctor, or my kid's an engineer, or even a teacher. There was also the idea that it does the family name proud, but not so much anymore.
I understand, but in Thailand we still have kind of that values. I think it impacted from industrial revolution that you have to put the man enough into factories to produce something. And the way I grew up is about the reward system and punishment system. And sometimes it's really hard to find the balance. The reward system is really hard to achieve. If you want to get something, you have to try really hard.
Right.
And that can make you feel that it's very tiring and you never be enough.
Do you feel though that extreme focus on education limits some children from maturing as they get older?
Oh, of course. I think that impact because I studied in the medical school, right? And you could see that the kids in the university are really young and immature. They still play like kids. Think that they barely go outside or think about going to the club, and everything that they focus on just studying. They lack of some communication skills. I could say that my classmates at that time couldn't do a lot of things that, like when I went to another countries, I was really surprised because the kids in my age, they're really capable on many things and they understand, they're street smart. I never understand what they're doing, like they rebel. And for me that is really sinful to say something against your parent or do something that your parent don't want you to do.
I think that's one of the first things that I noticed when I did move to Thailand was that idea that children here are very, very sensitive to their parents' opinions of them.
Right.
The idea that I can't do this because my mom and dad are going to shun me, or they're going to be upset about this. So it's a good thing. And it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because as they get older, you have children that naturally want to take care of their parents. There are very few retirement homes or old age homes in Thailand. The expectation is my parents come live with me, I take care of them. And I think that's a very, very beautiful thing. But on the downside is you never hand over the reins of, being a parent to your child. You always keep the reins. Even when you move into your child's house, you still dominate what happens in the house. Where I'm from, if I'm out of school and I get a house of my own one day, and let's say I want my dad to come live with me. Of course he can come live with me, that's fine. But it's my house. And my rules count. If I have a child, I'm raising that child my way. If I say bedtime, it's bedtime. If I say don't give the child too many snacks, don't give the child too many snacks. Even if you're the grandparent, you have to know your place because you had your turn at being parent. It is now my turn to be parent. I'll come to you for advice, but it's not your position to dictate how I raise my child. And that's a bit of a different...
Yeah, because here in Thailand, we really respect in seniority system. When the school, at work, if you're here before me, you're older than me, I have to respect that. Actually, not only in the house, but outside too. Like in the school, you have to respect the teachers.
Well, it's not just even the teacher. Like you have to respect your teacher, you have to respect the parents. You don't question your teacher, you don't question your parents, you don't question the government.
I think that
you don't question the family.
It's beyond the expectation. It becomes something that you have to obey, and obedient kids are really loved, Like when you think that you want love to be loved, you have to obey. I think that I really have a problem with that when I grow up, because it impacts me a lot. Because whatever I decide to do, I'm really scared that what my parents going to think about it. What they're going to think about it. It make me lack of my own opinions sometimes because I have to care all the time that I'm not going to hurt the feeling because that's really sinful.
But I think it's changing though. I think times are changing. I mean, you can see, for example, with the protests and small things, even in the classroom sometimes.
That's good.
For me, if I sort of had to summarize it, I'd say in a country like Namibia, we raise our kids to be independent and to be able to survive without us. You leave the house, you need to be able to cook, you need to be able to wash your own clothes, you need to be able to clean your house, you need to be able to go out into the world, any country and survive because mom and dad is not there to help you. In Thailand, it feels for me,
parents accept everything.
We raise our kids so that they can take care of us later. I don't always feel that it's focused that much on the child being or learning to be independent.
Actually, I agree with that because in Thailand, parents tend to think for their child. They already think that it's good for you, you should do that, you should do that. Even if you have your own idea, but if it's against your parents, finally you have to follow them anyway. This is why many kids in Thailand in school don't dare to show their opinions because they afraid that it's gonna be wrong. Adults say something that different from them. It is going to be really embarrassed, make you feel less confident, and that really be a problem here. People may think that it's just a little thing and you can change when you grow up, but I can say that from my opinion that's not true. I have grown in a Chinese family and have seen a lot of friends that have the same problems. Even when we adult, we still have parents shadow behind us all the time.
Yeah. I think a similar thing does happen where I'm from, and there are cases like that. I take my own family for example, where there was a period in time where you didn't say anything to your parent because it would be seen as cheeky, out of place, like you were overstepping your boundary.
Right.
And I grew up with my father. So, a single parent, visited my mom and that part of the family regularly, but the dynamics were very, very different. Where, for example, my dad raised me, you can make mistakes and that's fine to make mistakes. If you fail your test, it's okay, but it just means you have to put in double the work next time. You need to take responsibility for it. There's no second chance because if you go out one day, you have a job and you screw up, your boss isn't going to go, oh, it's okay, we'll give you another chance. They're going to fire you. And I think a lot of the kids get raised with that mindset where you can make a mistake now and you should make mistakes now, but there's a responsibility to be taken. And the same in schools too. Right. You can fail your test, but you're not going to get a retest. If you fail your test, you fail your test. And your parents can't go to the school and say, okay, but let them take it again. No, if you fail, you fail. If you fail the grade, you need to do the whole grade over again. There's no, we're going to put you through to the next grade because it's okay. So I feel there's sometimes a bit of a contradiction for me in the cultures where it's like we want our kids to behave, we want our kids to be responsible citizens of the country, but we don't necessarily teach them to take responsibility for mistakes that they've made, or to be able to do the hard thing. There's always going to be someone that has your back, and that's fine. It's good for the community, but I think as an individual it sometimes is a bit limiting.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And in Thailand, like, parents hold really high expectation on their child.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and they don't want to see the child fail. That's the main problem, because whenever you did something wrong, they're going to hold it against you for the rest of your life. It happens in a lot of families.
Is it a loss of face kind of thing? Like the family loses face?
Sometimes not about the face or the name of the family, but I think the main problem is about their expectation, that they feel like the relationship of that way is like an investment. If you know Chinese family, you've seen that they calculate everything. My mom did it too. She calculated, she notes every money that she spent on me. That's true, that how much that she spent to raise me up.
Yeah, I've had something similar where it does exist in some families where you do something and maybe you go against your parents' wishes and the parents go, well, I did this and this, especially with divorced families. I come from a divorced family where as soon as you pick up trouble with your mom goes, well, why don't you just go and live with your dad if your dad is so perfect? You pick up problems with your dad and your dad goes, well, I did this and this and this and this for you, but why don't you see if your mom will do the same thing for you? So it does exist.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes way too much because they're trying to treat you about the thing that they done for you, like how much they sacrifice and make you feel that you're a bad person, that you're doing evil thing. Sometimes it's just the pity, the thing that you're doing, and you don't understand why you have an agreement about this, and sometimes you lower value of yourself and feel like, oh, okay, so why it be that bad, and you feel like no matter how hard you try, it's nothing. Because that is something that you did wrong in the past. It never compensates what your parents have done to you.
Yeah. I've experienced something similar, but not to such an extreme degree. I think where we're from, because you can leave the house and start your own life.
No.
It's easier to a degree break away from that. There's not that expectation of, okay, well, you're leaving the house now, and one day you need to come back, or one day we need to come and live with you. You have that opportunity, I would sort of say, to foster your own identity. In terms of punishment, like where I'm from, corporal punishment is still a thing. But not as much as it was in my dad's time. In my dad's time, for example, if you were at school and you cheated on a test, you'd be called into the principal's office. The principal would have a cabinet with different rods, and you'd have to pick the rod that he was gonna, give you a hiding with, But where I'm from, for example, as I was raised, if you screwed up, go wait in the bathroom. Dad comes, big belt, 5 of the good ones, and then it's finished, and then all's forgiven. It's funny because if you ask the majority of Namibians and the majority of South Africans that grew up that way, that went, okay, I had corporal punishment as a kid, they'll go, I'm glad I had corporal punishment because it taught me respect, it taught me responsibility, but obviously those things weren't taken too far to the point where it becomes abuse. It's a very controversial thing, isn't it, corporal punishment?
Well, actually, in my idea, some parents do it really in the good way, that they do want to do that, okay, so we are going to punish you, you have to know that what you did wrong and why we do this to you, and some parents make too far, like it just come out of their anger and they just can't stop, so that, I think for me, that's abusive.
Yes, I agree.
I think that I have read many books from Europe and USA that they don't agree with the corporal punishment, because that sometimes people can't control that and it beyond what it should be, and it can cause it can traumatize a child.
My personal opinion, and I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me, but I do not appreciate the American and the British education system necessarily, or the way they raise their kids, and I think we can see a lot of it happening now where people are becoming way too sensitive, and
because they really believe in the freedom.
Well, I understand that, but it becomes too sheltered.
Sometimes people come too left. It's very left. Freedom thing. You have to respect the light of the child.
I don't have a problem with that, but it's still a child. You can't, for example, expect of a child to make the decisions that an adult would make. Their brains aren't that developed yet, but you need to give freedom. And I was given those freedoms as a kid, where I was allowed to do my own thing. My dad taught me at the beginning, okay, well, you come home, you have your lunch, or you make your own lunch, and then you do your homework, and that's it. And my dad never had to tell me, okay, now you need to do your homework, or ask me, is your homework finished? Because I knew if I came home and I didn't finish my homework, if I didn't take that responsibility, there was going to be hell to pay. There was going to be trouble. But I'm glad that happened, because now I know, okay, well, work first, play later. Sometimes it does become difficult.
I can understand that. Yeah, I'm really glad that actually my parents could do that really great job about it, and I'm really grateful about that. And I can say that because of the way that they really stick with my grades and my study, and I could enroll in a medical school, good one. About the connection, I can say that parents-children relationship in Thailand and many Asian countries. I don't say that it is same in every family, but in my family, physical affection really low. We barely hug kids or showing the physical affection to children. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it make us lacking of attachment in the family.
It's one of the things that makes it difficult speaking from a Namibian perspective is because you've got so many different cultures in Namibia, for example. Just as a note, my opinions are very much from an Afrikaner perspective, the Afrikaner culture. Where we're from, physical affection is the thing. Like you'll kiss your dad, you'll kiss them and hug them, even if you're a boy. It doesn't matter. Like if I see my dad, hug, kiss, hello, how are you? Same with my grandpa, same with my grandma, and a lot of people would go, ooh, that's weird. But to us, it's normal. It's sort of like the same as the Italians, what they do. Kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, I know that.
What about kids going out of the house? And I'm not talking about when they graduate, but for example, like going to the mall or going to the shop or going to a friend's house.
Yeah, it's very difficult to say for everybody. I have seen both sides of the world. Like some families very free, they give child freedom as long as you go back home at the time that you have to. But some families are very strict. So they have to, like the helicopter parenting, they have to watch all the time. They have to report me where you are, take a picture and send it to me. And if you really go to this way, because they're scared and they don't trust their children now. They think that because outside world is very scary.
But I haven't only seen that with kids. I've seen that with like some of my students who are like 30 years old.
I see.
They're in their late 20s, early 30s. They still have to phone their parents and say, okay, well, I'm going here or I'm going here.
Because I think that it becomes habit.
Okay, right.
And like sometimes they just don't want to have an issue or don't want their parents to be worried.
We have something similar, but we normally do it if you're driving a long distance. So if I'm going from here to the coast, I'll tell my dad, okay, listen, I'm leaving now, so that if I do arrive, they'll say, okay, listen, I arrived safely. It's just so that if I do get there, or if they don't hear from me, then they know, ooh, okay, maybe was there an accident or something like that. It's not necessary to check up.
I can understand that to a degree, but in Thailand it's kind of really different.
Yeah, it's...
And you can see that we leave the house very late. Even if you graduated from university, you have to find a job or get a good grades first, and then you leave.
Okay.
And a lot of people here still live with their parents in the same house.
Right. I've always, again, to a degree, I understand why, because it's like you take care of them when they get older. I've always found it a bit, like, I can't imagine.
So like, some of my friends said that like more than 25 already still live with their parents, and their parents still do chores for them.
Still wash clothes.
Wash clothes.
Yeah, see,
wash dishes.
In my country, that is a big no. If you are over 18, even before then, they're not going to wash the clothes. That's your job.
I think actually in my family as well, it takes very long for my brother to leave the house, and my mom still help him a lot. Right. Even when I watch my mom, she still help me a lot. Yeah, I help her about chores as well, but the main responsibility for me in the past was studying.
Yeah, I think things are a little bit more relaxed where I'm from, where I guess because Namibia is so small, if you want to go to the mall, you can go to the mall. Parents will go drop you off there, and they'll pick you up later, and then also the idea of sleepovers, which is very, very popular. You go to your friend's house for the weekend or for a night, you pack your bags, you go there, you sleep over at your friend's house, and then the next day your parents will come pick you up maybe at the end of the day. or your friends come to your house?
I haven't seen it much here.
Right, yeah.
No.
So
maybe things changed, but when I was a kid now, it wasn't any popular.
Do you think that the family dynamic is very similar between city kids and kids in the rural areas?
Not really. Actually, I'm surprised that there are many kids in the outside of the city. They have more freedom. Here's the thing: the more wealthy your family are, the more strict your parents will be.
That's odd.
That's not odd. It actually is.
Really?
Because I think it's about image of the family first.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be really well behaved. And then second is about the competition. Like because you are among, I say that, good opportunity kids. Then you have slightly high competition, and because you're born in a really good family, so the expectation on you is high.
The reason why I say it's odd, and I know I'm going to sound like a bit of an arse here, but normally with a lot of the richer families, when I've had to deal with their kids, the kids have been a lot more difficult to deal with, more undisciplined compared to
Well, I find I see like they're spoiled to a degree, but you can see that when they grow up and in the school, most of them are really obedient. Can say that. Yeah, when compared because in our teas and government schools, so you can see varieties. In some schools, they rank their kids and put them to different rooms,
Right.
And what about the kids who have high grade from richer family? Yeah, this is surprising, but I don't think it's surprising. I think maybe the part of the opportunity that they can send you to study extra class. These are my opinions and experience. I know that you guys out there may have different appearances what I have seen and or Sean has seen when he's in Thailand.
By no means are we trying to pinpoint, criticize cultures or anything. It's basically just chit chat, just to flesh things out. And I think there's a lot that we can learn by actually having discussions like this. Anyway, guys, that's our thoughts. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see ya. Bye.
Bye.